guys, it's Amanda and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm so excited because today I have a very big pile of books for a spooky book recommendation video. I am so excited because as we know now, spooky season is now upon us and no one can hold us back anymore. So I have picked out some books that I think are very spooky and very cozy, but also very scary to read for this amazing season. So let's get right into it. So I actually have 11 books here. I was gonna make it 10, but I had to add the other one in it. So I have 11 books here for you, and you can already see the top one because this pile is really big. The first book I have here is Interview with the Vampire. Now I have a deep love for this book and this amazing story. I have sung songs from this amazing show. It was actually on Broadway for not even 2 months and then it got killed. This has amazing songs and I just love the whole entire story of Interview with the Vampire. It's one of my favorite books of all time, so I will read you the back. Here are the confessions of a vampire, hypnotic, shocking, and chillingly erotic. This is a novel of mesmerizing beauty and astonishing force, a story of danger and flight, of love and loss, of suspense and resolution, and the extraordinary power of the senses. It is a novel only Anne Rice could write. I love this book so much. It's about vampires, if you can't already tell by the title. It is about a journalist who interviews a vampire, and the vampire tells him his whole life story and what happened during his vampire life. So this is very interesting. It's kind of a short-ish read. It goes by really fast though. This is just one of my favorite books of all time, so please, if you have not read this, please read it. You will not regret it. The next book I have here is It's by Stephen King. Oh, It is another one of my favorite books of all time, and it has my dear Pennywise on it. I love Pennywise so much. So I'll read you the back of this, but I'm sure most of you know what the story of it is, but I will read the back anyway. To the children, the town was their own world. To the adults, knowing better, Derry, Maine was their hometown. Familiar, well-ordered, a good place to live. It was the children who saw and felt what made Derry so horribly different. In the storm drain, in the sewers, it lurked, taking on the shape of every nightmare, each person's deepest dread. Sometimes it reached up, seizing, tearing, killing. The adults, knowing better, knew nothing. Time passed and the children grew up, moved away. The horror of it was deep buried, wrapping its forgetfulness, until the grown-up children were called back once more to confront it, and it stirred and coiled in the sullen depths of their memories, reaching up again to make their past nightmares a terrible present reality. Frightening, epic, and brilliant, Stephen King's It is one of the greatest works of true storytelling master. This book is amazing, and it is a total of over 1,000 pages. So if you want to read this, be prepared. The next book I have here is something I've talked about in my past videos, but I'm going to mention it again, is Dracul by Dacre, Stoker, and J.D. Barker. This is a take on Dracula. It is the story of Dracula mixed in with Bram Stoker's life. So I'll read you the back. It's 1868, and 21-year-old Bram Stoker waits in a tower to face an indescribable evil. Armed with only crucifixes, holy water, and a rifle, he prays to survive a single night, the longest one of his life. Desperate to record what he has witnessed, Bram scribbles down the events that led him here. A sickly child, Bram spent his early days bedridden in his parents' Dublin home, tended to by caretaker, a young woman named Ellen Crone. When a string of strange deaths occur in a nearby town, Bram and his sister Matilda detect a pattern of bizarre behavior by Ellen, a mystery that deepens chillingly until Ellen vanishes suddenly from their lives. Years later, Matilda returns from studying in Paris to tell Bram the news that she has seen Ellen, and the nightmare they thought long ended is now only beginning. I'm still actually in the middle of this. I cannot wait to finish this. It goes by so fast, and it's a very fast read, and it's so scary, and I love it so very much. So please, read Dracul. It will terrify you. The next book I have here is another book by Stephen King, and that is The Bazaar of Bad Dreams. Now this is a book of stories. There are 15 stories in this book, and each one's about 50 to 70-ish pages long-ish. It's all of his short stories, and they're all very short, but they pack a really big punch, so I will read you the back. A master storyteller at his best, the O. Henry Prize winner Stephen King delivers a magnificent, eerie collection of stories featuring the autobiographical comments on when, why, and how he came to write or rewrite each story. There are thrilling connections between stories, themes of the afterlife, guilt, what we would do differently if we could see into the future or correct the mistakes of the past. In Afterlife, A man who died of colon cancer keeps reliving the same life, repeating his mistakes over and over again. Several stories feature characters at the end of life, revisiting their crimes. Others address what happens when someone discovers that he has supernatural powers. The one who kills people by writing their obituaries in obits. The old judge in The Dune, who, as a boy, canoed to a deserted island and saw names written in the sand, people who then died in freak accidents. In Morality, King looks at how a marriage and two lives fall apart after the wife and husband enter into what seems, at first, a devil's pact they can win. I made these stories especially for you, says King. Feel free to examine them, but please be careful. The best of them have teeth. Oh, I cannot wait to read this. I am so excited to read this. Short Stories by Stephen King. Who doesn't want to read that? The next book I have here is Coraline by Neil Gaiman. Coraline is one of my favorite movies ever. And when I found out when I was like 7 there was a book that was based off of a book, I literally cried. This is my original copy of Coraline, and I read this within a day because it is really short and very fast-paced, but I love the story of Coraline so much. When Coraline steps through a door to find another house strangely similar to her own, only better, things seem marvelous. But there's another mother there, another father, and they want her to stay and be their little girl. They want to change her and never let her go. Coraline will have to fight with all of her wits and courage if she is to save herself and return to her ordinary life. Do I have to say anything more about it? Coraline. The next book I have here is one of my favorite books in this entire stack, and that is Stalking Jack the Ripper. This is a series of 4 books, and this series was so good. I read it all the way through. I just loved this series so much. Oh my god. This was the best. It's gory, it has romance, it has historical fiction. It's amazing. It's amazing. He murdered women in cold blood. He terrorized an entire city. He taunted those of who hunted him down. But despite all these horrors, in the end, I could not deny it. I was the girl who loved the Ripper. If you have read this series, you know how amazing it is. If you haven't, you don't know how amazing it is, and that's why you need to read it. Read this series, please. It's amazing. Next book I have here is The Library of the Dead, and I did just get this book this summer, actually. I started reading it, then I put it down. It's not because I didn't like it, it's just because I wasn't in the mood for reading at the time, and I just put it down, but I will read you the inside. Ropa dropped out of school to become a ghost talker, and she now speaks to Edinburgh's dead, carrying messages to those they left behind. A girl's gotta earn a living, and it seems harmless enough. Until that is, the dead begin to whisper that someone's bewitching children, leaving them husks empty of joy and life. It's in Ropa's city, so she feels honor-bound to investigate. But what she learns will change her world. She'll dice with death, not part of her life plan, discovering an occult library and a taste for the hidden magic. She'll also experience dark times, for Edinburgh hides a wealth of secrets, and Ropa's gonna hunt them all down. And this little splurge right here, it says, "The Sixth Sense meets Stranger Things in this sharp contemporary fantasy following a precocious teen as she explores the shadowy, magical underside of the modern Edinburgh." I literally didn't even read the synopsis. I opened it up and I saw the word Stranger Things. I'm like, well, gotta read that, because as you know, I love Stranger Things and my dear Finn Wolfhard. I was also called to this book by just the title, because The Library of the Dead, as we know, we love books and libraries, so if it's a library that's haunted by a million ghosts, yes. Next book I have here is The Devil and the Dark Water. I read this, I didn't read it. I read about 50 pages of it and put it down because I really didn't like this book. I might pick it up again and reread it, but this was just not having it for me. It was just really slow, and it was not hard to understand, but just hard to follow what was going on. I didn't like it that much, but I will read you the inside. It's 1634, and Samuel Pepys, the world's greatest detective, is being transported to Amsterdam to be executed for a crime he may or may not have committed. Traveling with him and his loyal bodyguard, Errant Hayes, who's determined to prove his friend innocent. Among the other guests is Sarah Wessel, a noblewoman of the secret. But no sooner is their ship out to sea than devilry begins to blight their voyage. A strange symbol appears on the sail. A dead leper stalks the decks. Livestock dies in the night. And then the passengers hear a terrible voice whispering to them in the darkness, promising them 3 unholy miracles, followed by a slaughter. First, an impossible pursuit. Second, an impossible theft. And third, an impossible murder. Could a demon be responsible for their misfortunes? With Pips imprisoned, and only Errant and Sarah can solve a mystery that stretches back into the past and now threatens to sink the ship, killing everyone on board. Now, I love the big inside of this because it has the layout of the entire ship and it is so pretty. I didn't really like this book, but then again, I didn't read the whole book, but I might like it later in life, but. And the final book I have here is Pan's Labyrinth. Now this is the book that is completely based off of the movie, and this is the edition of this that came out in 2019. And the illustrations, not really illustrations, but they're just the pages, I love so much. And of course the cover art is beautiful. This book is not for the faint of heart or weak in spirit. It's not for the skeptics who don't believe in fairy tales or the powerful forces of good. It's only for the brave souls like you who will stare down evil in all its forms. Inspired by the critically acclaimed film written and directed by Oscar winner, I'm not even going to try to say his name, but the top name, and reimagined by the New York Times best-selling author, this haunting tale takes readers into a darkly magical and war-torn world filled with richly drawn characters, including trickster fauns, murderous men, child-eating monsters, courageous rebels, and a long-lost princess hoping to be reunited with her family. Perfect for fans of the movie and readers who are new to the visionary work alike. This atmospheric and absorbing novel is a portal to another universe, where there is no wall between the real and the imagined. A daring, unforgettable collaboration between the two brilliant storytellers. I cannot wait to read this book. This is such a beautiful book. I cannot wait to read it. I've seen parts of the movie and I cannot wait to read it. So that is the end of today's book recommendation video. I really hope you enjoyed, and if you do end up reading any of these books I mentioned, please get in touch with me on either my Instagram, my TikTok, or my GoodReads, or my Pinterest. Either of those will work. They are all linked down below, so you can go and follow me there. So if you enjoyed today's video, please hit the like button and hit subscribe if you have not already, and click the notification bell so you'll be notified every single time that I upload. And as always, remember to be the Captain Jack Sparrow of your story, and may your compass lead you to amazing things. And I shall see you guys in my next video. Bye guys. Happy spooky season!